Many thanks, Sari, for the introduction. And many thanks for you still staying here after 2 very, very impressive days. And as you might have heard, I'm a lawyer. So at the beginning, I will give you a disclaimer, a legal disclaimer. That what follows might be risky and disappointing. And why am I using that it is perhaps risky? And do not leave the room so the anxious people, you may stay, and the other one, you don't need a pillow. But that has to do with this photo and the other one that will follow. Because they were made like a lot of PowerPoints that you have shown during the last days, and I haven't heard a word about the risks. Not regarding the content, but who has the copyright for that? I really typed it in and said, I want to have a picture about that issue with that title, and that what came out there. But who is the copyright? Am I allowed to show it here? And there are some risks. Because if I would ask a Canadian lawyer, he would say, yeah, for sure this is clear, because following the Canadian law it is, I have no idea with the Canadian law, who has the copyright. But if you ask a European, he would give you an answer, for sure it is clear who has the copyright, but I'm sure that it will be different to the Canadian, to the US American, to the South African, or whatever legislation in that way. In a lot of countries we don't have a legislation for that. So it is risky to show it, but there is a way out. It is internationally, and that is the first international point, it is internationally accepted that if you are using brands, movies, or whatever for scientific reasons, and if you're explaining from what source they are coming, then you may show it without regarding the copyright. So let's have a scientific session. It's a closing keynote here. Well, there we come to the disappointing point. I don't know if that is really a closing keynote, because I was not intended to give one. And I explained that with the first thing, coming back to my good old friend Wolfgang. There was a phone call some weeks ago, and I give you free advice in advance. Whenever there's a phone call with Wolfgang, zip your pockets, throw your calendar away, and train the word no, no. And he said to me, okay, at the end of a 30-minute fantastic discussion about that, wouldn't it be great if you say, and I quote you, some words. Some words at the end of the meeting. I said, I think there are a lot of others who could do that better and have experience and whatever. And he said, yeah, just some words. I said, okay, some words is okay. Where that ended up, you see it at the program. So this is the disappointing point in some way. And there are some more that are close to the risk of having this kind of presentation. So the next thing of being there is usually a keynote speaker at the end is not a person like me. Usually there is someone who has a fancy, fantastic job, an astronaut, or an up-wall gardener, or a famous cook, and he tells you 20 minutes about his or her job and experiences, and at the end he or she makes for 2 minutes a link and says, yes, you see, cooking has a lot of parallelities to disability management because even we have to order all the different dishes and to look how we get it on the table. And the astronaut says, yes, internationality is also important for us because when we see the globe, we see it as a whole, and so on and so on. But I'm not that one from a fancy job. I'm from the inside. And I work for my life on the international level, on rehabilitation, and for sure for disability management. And here, we might come to the next and hopefully last disappointing point in that way. So what can I tell you new at the end of such a conference about the need of international cooperation? My God, we are at the IFDM. The I, this stands for international. Yeah, not at NITMAR. The I is not for international. That's an institute. And the CDMP does not stand for Canadian Disability Management, but for certified. So everyone knows that we are internationally. So why really bringing an ode to Athens or carrying coal to Newcastle here? You all know that. So it's boring, or isn't it? And really, if we talk about the international experiences in that way, I would say, if you do so, you need to tell something positive. That's what you expect. Hey, we need international cooperation. We can learn from each other, and especially related to the issue of this conference. And here we are again to the risky point. I talked during the last weeks to several persons about that, what is the main trend in the international world of disability management. What are the new things coming out? And I think you have discussed about that during the last 2 days, but not with the result of that what I heard. It's not scientific. It's just personal touch with people who are speakers of the Paralympic athletes, who are the president of organizations who were looking for the blind, for the disabled, from around the globe. And what was at least their result? What these people told me is that their biggest threat of the future is the new trend of AI and remote work. And I said, okay, I can understand that, especially with AI, but why remote work? And they said, yes, we are threatened and are afraid of that remote work will get on and on the same way as it has started during the pandemic. And then it will lead to the situation that the disabled people will get isolated, that at the next economic crisis, they will not bring us back to work, but tell us, hey, do a little easy job at home, but not integrated in a real valuable process. Just doing some things at home like it has been 200 years ago with the wives sewing at home and doing not really some valuable, worthy things. You will not have any presentation, any scientific research study where you find that. Everyone is reporting, even here, that remote work is something that is helpful for disability management, that it is easier to integrate the people into the working process. Yeah, that it makes the access easier. But there isn't any more an access to the workplace. They are doing it at home. And they have the feeling that it leads to isolation. And the second thing is AI. They say AI will kill disability management. Not like we all say in here, saying, hey, it's a tool, let's use it. It's in some way dangerous, but it's also helpful, so let's use it like a telephone, a computer, or whatever, and make the best out of it, because we as human beings are the ones who are really, at least finally decide what to do. But the people itself, to whom we are talking to, which we expect to trust in our work as disability managers, a lot of them have the fear that AI will kill that job, and that in the near future, they will not talk anymore to a disability manager, but doing that, well, we say, no, that will not happen, that they only need to type in a formula that might be offered by the Social Security and get the answer from ChatGPT or what else. So it's their fear. And if they would listen to all the presentations here, I don't know if they would believe us in that way. Okay, now we have a picture here. So you might say, hey, but the world is different. Look at the trends around all the world that are happening regarding disability management. Okay, and here comes the legal point for the next 5 or 6 minutes to give you a scientific presentation to that wonderful picture here created by ChatGPT. What about the future of disability management internationally in a changing world of work? It's likely to be shaped by several key trends and developments, driven by technological advances, evolving workplace practices, and broader societal shifts. First, the increased use of technology. As technology continues to advance, we can expect more sophisticated assistive devices and software that enable people with disabilities to participate more fully in the workforce. This includes everything from advanced screen readers and voice recognition software to exoskeletons and AI-driven tools that support cognitive and physical tasks. The rise of remote work, accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, has opened up new opportunities for people with disabilities. Companies are now more likely to adopt flexible work arrangements, which can be particularly beneficial for those who face challenges in traditional office environments. AI and automation can help in customizing work environments to meet individual needs, such as automating repetitive tasks or providing real-time accessibility solutions. However, there's also a need to ensure that these technologies are designed inclusively from the start, for sure. There's a growing recognition of the importance of diversity and inclusion, which includes a focus on disability. Companies are increasingly likely to develop and implement policies that go beyond compliance to proactively create supportive environments for employees with disabilities. And as workplace cultures evolve, there will likely be greater emphasis on training for all employees to understand disability issues, reduce stigma, and foster an inclusive atmosphere. This includes both managers and peers being educated on how to support colleagues with disabilities. The governments may tighten regulations around accessibility and disability rights, requiring companies to meet higher standards. This could involve stricter enforcement of existing laws or the introduction of new ones that reflect the changing nature of work. And as companies operate across borders, there might be a push towards harmonizing disability management standards globally. This would ensure that employees with disabilities receive consistent support regardless of where they work. Disability management is likely to take a more holistic approach. We have heard that, considering not just physical disabilities, but also mental health and being. This aligns with broader trends in workplace wellness programs that address a range of employee needs. In 2 minutes, I'm through. The future may see more personalized support plans for employees with disabilities tailored to their specific needs and circumstances. This could include individualized accommodations, career development opportunities, and continuous support. Companies might use data analytics to monitor the effectiveness of their disability management programs and identify areas for improvement. This could involve tracking employee engagement, satisfaction, and productivity, as well as assessing the impact of accommodations. And with the increased use of data and AI in disability management, there will be a need to address privacy concerns and ensure ethical use of information, especially when dealing with sensitive health-related data. And the last 2 points, as more people engage in gig works or freelancing, disability management will need to adapt to non-traditional employment arrangements. This could involve new ways of providing support and accommodations outside of a conventional employer-employee relationship. As job roles evolve due to the technical advancements and changing market demands, there will be a need to continuously reassess and update accommodations to align with new types of work. And there may be more collaboration between governments, private companies, and nonprofits to develop comprehensive disability management programs. These partnerships can drive innovation, share best practices, provide resources to support employees with disabilities, and international organizations may play a larger role in promoting disability inclusion globally, leading to shared frameworks and resources that can be adapted to different cultural and economic contexts. Aldous Huxley, what a wonderful world. This is a perfect scientific presentation that covers all the current challenges and also the discussion that you have made during the last days. But I think most of you, all of you, have realized that this is not from me. These are not my words. This is not my position. This is not what I feel. Because these words, they are very elegant. They are smooth, but they are very abstract. And they are from ChatGPT. And this is why they are not convincing people who have the feeling that something is going wrong at the time with the direction of disability management. Not currently, but in the future, what might come up. And we should listen to that, because otherwise, these people, perhaps not us, these people will be frustrated, because they might come up with the position, hey, you who are there to help us, you're not listening to us. You're not listening to our fears. So please act and listen to our voice. And what I tried to do and to explain, and I hope you will follow that and do it, is really to say that people, yes, there is for sure a certain risk. But if you look to the history, we can learn for the future, and we can avoid that we are going into the wrong direction. I could also take some minutes, but I don't want to go too far, but I have another 3.5 minutes of ChatGPT. If you ask ChatGPT, hey, what about disability management in the year 2035? What are we doing? Hey, artificial intelligence, they will show us the way. Huh? If I would read that, at the end, you would have the feeling, it sounds like that I've heard that before. Because even that it is a different wording, at least ChatGPT shows you for the future that it is the same situation as it is now. And that may not and will not happen, because there's always a progress, and it would be absolutely terrifying, again, if we would not listen to the fears of the people at the time and react and change in some way our behavior in a more direction and in a personal one. And we have to take one thing in mind that was mentioned several times during the last 2 days. AI has a lot of problems. It has a lot of resources and can help us, right? But we should remember that at the beginning, the people who worked on it, especially the one for Gemini with Google, they were the ones, the technicians, who said, don't let us call that intelligence, because it is not artificial intelligence. It is an artificial way, in a fantastic way, putting information, scientific results together and formulated in new and different words. But AI is always just the status quo, always the status quo. And there is nothing creative behind than really putting all the informations of the status quo together. Okay, you can create in some way new pictures, but there is not a new and brilliant idea. And that is, I think, what we need to tell our people, that we say, hey, the voice on the telephone is not someone from the space, it's me. That's what you need to explain to people 80 years ago or 100. Yeah? And the steam machine is not something that has a soul and is running by itself forward. It is a tool. It is a tool with a lot of opportunities, with a lot of risks, and we as human beings need to handle it. And when we look back to that we are in this change in the world of work we are all talking about, this is nothing new. This is nothing new. Coming back to the steam machine, you have two good explanations for that. The steam machine was not invented, as everyone said, by Watson. It was invented by international cooperation, because there were a lot of other people around the globe who was working on the same issue. Same, by the way, with the telephone. Yeah, we're all fighting. We all have our national heroes who invented the telephone. But at least it was international cooperation. And for sure, all these things changed the world of work. And at all these changes, there was a big fear of the people. A real big fear that the steam machine will kill jobs and not create new ones. The computer, some of you might be at the same age as I have been in the 70s. My God, a computer. They were taking over the whole humanity, yeah, because they can calculate faster, they can collect data in a huge amount. 286 kilobyte was my first computer. And people were also afraid of that. And at least now we are used to it because we are handling it, we are explaining it. We are taking the fear from the people away, and we can do it now by showing that in history, all these changes, they were helpful at least. They had some risk, and the risk will keep and go on, but we try to manage the risk and develop it further. And last example in that way, if you see, not to mention the robots, but imagine we wouldn't have international cooperation in all these fields. What would have happened with COVID-19? We were able, by international cooperation, to develop a vaccine within some month. That would have never been done if a nation, what nation ever, would have done that only for itself. And by the way, we had the same threats and fears of the people if we look back. And the only thing that helps is talk with open mind also about the fears. Not tell them, hey, it's all okay, we can handle it. No, we cannot handle everything. But it is necessary to tell that to the people. We try the best, we do the best, look to the 90% positive, and I'm not sure if we can avoid the 10% negatives. Let's be open in that way and listen to the people and their fear. To the next picture here, that should lead to the open, positive way. Even that man there is thinking, I don't know about what, but let's see that everything, now I'm getting a little bit philosophically, but also internationally, everything has its, to have three examples from the Chinese, it's yin and yang. You all know that symbol, I guess. And that's also the case with disability management. It is not only positive, fantastic, whatever you will, it has also its critical sides. It has on it. And if you look at the yin and yang, some people do not know that, yeah? The yang in the Chinese philosophy is the light side, the positive side, the way forward side. And by the way, it's male. I know I'm coming into critical areas here, but and yin, but I'm just quoting it, and yin, which is female, is the dark side, the negative side, the shadow. But that is not negative, because the idea of yin-yang is not that you look only to one side. So it is not that the female is the negative and the man is the positive one. No, the idea of yin and yang is that together they build the form they come into the balanced area, what is the fundament for getting forward and having a better world. And I think you can use that also for the world we are working and living in. Or you can use other words. Sorry if there are Chinese here with the pronouncement with Wei Ji. Wei Ji is a word in Chinese that has two meanings. One is risk, and the other one is success. So we have also to do that. We have sometimes to take the risk to go forward to get the success at the end. And finally, at least the third one, Lao Tse is a philosopher. I absolutely love it. He has said, wisdom and knowledge has no ownership. Nowadays, we would say no copyright. And that is absolutely fascinating, because that shows from a man who lived some 1,000 years before, who sent out the message, we have to give our knowledge to the others for free and exchange it. And that will create wisdom. So it is at least a short explanation of international work and cooperation. There is no ownership for wisdom. So let's share it. Let's give it to the others. And that is the way what I say, see it from the both sides. That's challenges and chances together. And that is, for one thing, important what we hopefully are going to do within 30 minutes here. Disability management is something that is acting all over the world more or less since 200 or even more years. The miners had some self-helping groups in the 18th, 17th century, but which is now, based on the certified system of NITMAR, something that you can really let spread all over the world. But up to now, there is no real platform that you, who are working in that field, do not only have the chance to exchange yourself with the colleagues next door, if behind the door there is someone who is not on remote work, but also with the people in another province or in another country or in another continent. And we need to do that because remember that what I've said, what is intelligence? Intelligence is when two or more people are exchanging their thoughts, but also their emotions, their restraints, their dreams. And then from that exchange, there comes an idea that is completely new, has never been written in researches. Sometimes very simple things, sometimes very complicated things. So let's build, and we are going to try that with an international association of professional disability managers, not only for Canadians and Germans and Malaysians and Belgians and all the others, but to all the countries who want to join there. Because that will make our work much better and will for sure increase the quality and help us to explain the people what are they thinking of our work. Because I hope you agree with one thing. We all, wherever on the globe, we will fail if there is no trust and confidence between the disability manager on one side and the disabled one on the other side. You may do whatever you want. If he or she doesn't trust you, I think everything you do is in vain, at least. So that might help in that direction. And by that, I'm coming to one information that you all, I guess, know, and then I come to the final slide there. Disability management has been always globally local. Wherever you are on the globe, you have to act looking to the environment, to the society, to the culture, to the philosophy of the company or whatever, and to the individual. So it is always local, not only here. But on the other side, do not forget that I would say disability management is locally global. So whatever you do there, is based on international experiences. It's not just the knowledge of your boss, your neighbor, your colleague. No, it is based on international experiences. And that is why we need to bring that together. So let's look positive into the future. That is what you expect from a keynote speaker at the end to the IFDM 2026. And I hate and I love that picture. And I will tell you why. You see, there's someone standing in front with a certain smile or positive looking into the future. But I hope it works. Let me click back to the beginning. This is the first picture when you ask ChatGPT, hey, please show me a disability manager that is afraid of losing his job. And it took some additional types that I said, no, I want to have that guy a little bit older. Yeah? But you see a man wearing a dark suit, having a tie, sitting in a wheelchair. And if you go further, the one who is thinking of that, what's going to happen as a disability manager, you see a man in a suit with a tie and the wheelchair standing aside. And if you go further to the next one, now, that's, by the way, 1 minute, why I love AI. It's really creative in detecting, finding sometimes new words. So it's remomi work, or it's, where is it? Indumation. Isn't that fantastic? Industrial automation. Okay, but that's more for the joke side. You see the next one who's thinking positive of the future. What do you see? Sorry, I repeat myself. A man in a suit with a tie and a wheelchair. And that is why I absolutely hate these pictures, because even at the last one, what do you see? Again, a man, mid-aged, in a suit, a dark suit with a tie, a wheelchair. Okay, it's not him, they're behind. My God, what kind of prejudices do we have in that artificial intelligence there? Yeah, you type in a disability manager, and these algorithms say, oh, a manager is a man with a dark suit and a tie. And to show you that he has to do with disability, you put a wheelchair on the side. Sorry, this is kindergarten, as we say, yes? So take that as something where you can really show that artificial intelligence is far away from taking over all these issues here. It is sometimes really funny. But I can tell you also why I love this picture. Okay, it shows positivity. Someone is smiling. And I love it that it's the only picture where the disability manager, even that is a man, is standing upright. Yeah, and look into the future. And I was thinking by myself, how could these programs and algorithms achieve it that this man really looks so satisfied and smiling? I can tell you why. That is my explanation. I think this man there expresses his thoughts because he is thinking, if at the IFDM 2026, Wolfgang is calling me and is asking me to say some words, then I know what I will answer. Ask an astronaut or an apple gardener or a cook, but not me, no. Thanks.